Then imagine handing it up to God. But every time I remember to do that, it seems things just seem to start to work out. Hello. I was just thinking about something that I feel really needs to be shared, and it's a process that I use for dealing with any problem or challenge in my life, no matter how small or how huge it feels to me. It's the same thing that I always come back to, and it was a process that I was taught by some people that became dear friends of mine. They're probably the most impactful spiritual teachers that I've ever met, and they used to live in Western Australia, in the country just outside of Perth. And they are the only people, or the first people certainly, that I've ever met that it just seemed that they were living on love and light, or living from love and light. Hopefully you'll understand what that means. They just seemed so connected with themselves, with God, and just fully living their path and freely sharing their teachings and some spiritual development classes that they'd effectively channeled, and were willingly, openly sharing them with lots of people, in fact thousands of people over the years. Now sadly this couple, well, they were in their 70s, and that was about 15 years ago. Sadly they have passed away. However, even their passing just was such a beautiful reflection of their connection to spirit, connection to God, because even that in a sense just seemed quite magical, how it all happened. So it's very simple as well. And that's why I just feel like this must be shared, and perhaps lots of people do this similarly in their own way too. So all it involves is, and this couple were called Jackie and Jim, and I'd quite often, I was going through some huge challenges at the time, so on a few occasions I actually called Jackie between classes and said, look, this is going on, really just don't know what to do, because I was going through some quite major stuff at the time. And every time she said the same thing. She always sent me back to me, which I think is just such a true reflection of a good spiritual healer. Anyway, if they send you back to you, as frustrating as it felt sometimes, because I wanted somebody outside to fix these problems, but it was brilliant and perfect that she sent me back to me. And first of all, she always said to me, bring yourself into the present. Be in gratitude and bring yourself into the now. So the being in gratitude is simply thank for the roof over your head, thank for the food in your belly. So I would be reminded to do that. So I'd say, thank you for the roof over my head and the food in my belly. Now, most of us, or certainly people that are going to find this video, I would think, at least as a minimum, have a roof over your head, I hope, and food in your belly. So everybody can say that and be in gratitude, choose to be in gratitude for that. So that was the first part, bring yourself into the now and be in gratitude. And then the next part, very simply, was imagine whatever this challenge is that we perceive to be going on. So whatever the situation is, the people involved, assuming that you are personally involved. So everything around that situation, imagine just putting it in a bubble of light. So just immersing it in a bubble of white light, beautiful, perfect white light. And just imagine the entire thing filled with that light. And then that bubble of light, then imagine handing it up to God. Now, I used to be uncomfortable with the word God because of all sorts of decisions I'd made about what God and what is and what isn't. Anyway, I've made peace with all of that, and now it just feels comfortable to say God. So I invite you to do the same. But really, but if you're challenged with the word God, then use spirit or divine or whatever. But I think if we can say God, then all the better. So imagine handing that bubble of light up to God. And as you do so, let's ask for the highest and best outcome. Your will, not mine. So imagine saying that, your will, not mine, over to you. And then simply let it go. So imagine that the whole thing, the whole problem, the whole challenge has been lifted from you to allow the highest and best outcome for all. So this is not about thinking that we know what the best outcome is, because perhaps we don't. But allow the best outcome for all. Allow God to determine what the best outcome for all is, and simply let it go. Now, if like me, every so often it pops back into your head and then you get back into doubt and things like that, just remember you've let it go. So don't try and bring it back, let it go. And then simply see what happens. Follow the prompts that arise and just notice and observe what happens from then. And every time I've done this, because I haven't always remembered to do this when I'm in a problem, sometimes I get caught up in it and then I think, oh yeah, I've got to do that. I haven't handed it up. I haven't put it in the light. I haven't handed it over. I'm trying to figure it all out myself. But every time I remember to do that, it seems things just seem to start to work out. So we've got to fully let it go and then just pay attention. Pay attention to what happens and just observe, but just remember to stay in trust. Trust in God, trust in divine, trust in spirit, that the highest outcome for all will happen, the highest and best. And we don't necessarily know what that is. So the more unattached, the more detached we can be from what we perceive the outcome to be, the better. So it is key to simply let it go. Now, I hope that's helped in some way, and it is very simple. And perhaps I'll just quickly go through it again, just as a reminder, so that you can maybe jot down the words. So whatever the problem situation is, just imagine all of that in a bubble of light. Hand that bubble of light up to God and thank and ask for the highest and best outcome for all. Your will, not mine. Over to you, and let it go. And remembering to stay in the now, thank for the roof over my head, thank for the food in my belly. It really is as simple as that. We can do this. We've got this. And we need to remember our connection to divine, our connection to God. I hope this finds you well. Thank you. If you have enjoyed this video, please remember to like, share and subscribe. Thank you.